21 of the Unnamed Games podcast. I'm Craig, your host as per usual. This week we've got some quite interesting topics coming up. We've got some bits around some Star Wars news, which is quite exciting. I know Mr. Phil's excited about. We've also got a question from one of our listeners and some bits around the Xbox Live price increase. But as per usual, I'm not alone. It is not just me. And we have one of the windows that was empty last week is full again. Our friend Alan is back from the dead. He survived. He's okay. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm really, really good. Thanks, mate. And I'm pleased to report I did not have COVID. I had the negative test. NHS, thank you very much. So Ellie could go back to work. She was very annoyed. She had to stay at home for 2 days. So, she's one of those weird people that likes to go to work. I don't myself. But...
Wait, quick question. Did you have to do the test yourself or did somebody do it to you?
No, I had to do it myself. Trying to shove a swab down your throat and then up your nose is not a great experience, but,
It's worse if you let somebody else do it, mate. No mercy. I can confirm my eyes watered.
Yeah, well, are you sure that was a swab down the throat, Phil? But let's not go there. This is a PG-friendly podcast.
Anyway, that next inappropriate voice is Mr. Phil. How are you, mate?
Ahoy, hoy, people of the internet. I'm wonderful. Thank you very much.
Good stuff, mate. Good
stuff.
For
reference, I didn't have to have a COVID test this week like Alan. That's fine. That was many months ago.
Good stuff.
All is well. Also negative.
And also we have Mr. Ratley Ratster with his very colourful background. How are you, mate?
Oh, hello, people. Hello. Welcome back, Al. Glad you're not COVID positive. That's all good. Always good news to hear, mate. So, yeah, happy days. And I can confirm that those tests suck, man. Like, I had to do it myself. I didn't find the nose too bad, but like trying to get the swab down the back of my throat without throwing up. Mate. I was like, ugh.
Not pleasant.
Couldn't do it.
Pleasant.
Just couldn't.
There's things I could say, but like I said, we're PG friendly.
Yeah. Are we though? Are we really?
Well, we are on air.
We're treading that fine line, aren't we? We're just like walking the tightrope.
What you're saying is we just make him work for Craig and then have to bleep out 2 minutes of the conversation.
Yeah. Please don't keep doing that. So anyway, we're going to go through pretty much the kind of usual moves, if you like. We're going to do a little bit of a chat to start off with. Then we're going to go through the news. Like I say, we've got a bit of a question later on, and then we're going to have a quiz, which is a movie-based quiz. So, boys, get thinking about those movie-based buzzers. But first off,
so glad I was back.
Yeah, but first
so
off,
glad.
I'm going to have a bit of a chat with Alan, as he's back and we missed him. So, and see what have you been up to, mate? You've been poorly, so you must have had plenty of time to enjoy things.
I missed you too.
Oh.
Can't do a heart, but it looks a bit more like a dead squid on the screen, and the audio listeners can't hear. But anyway, I'm not a 13-year-old girl, so I can't do it. So obviously I was ill Thursday, Friday, but I managed to pull myself into my reclining chair in front of the TV at one point, and there you go. Phil's a 13-year-old girl. Thanks, Phil. So. One of the things that I've been really looking forward to, and only found out a couple of weeks ago, was Amazon Prime went ahead and bought Star Trek Lower Decks, which I've watched all the Star Treks. I'm a massive Star Trek fan, and I love all of the series to varying degrees. And so I was interested to see what this was like, and I have to say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I binge watched the entire series. Admittedly, I think there were 10 episodes, and they're about 20-25 minutes long each. And of course, I was off work, so I had the opportunity to do so. So I basically sat there and I watched all 10 episodes. And there's loads of Star Trek in jokes, but you don't need to be a hardcore Trekkie to appreciate the humour. I thought they were really well done. And it is the first sort of purely comedy-based Star Trek content. All Star Trek has that little bit of, the joke at the end or a bit of in-humour and stuff like that. That's part of the whole layout of stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's not all deadly serious sci-fi. There's always a bit of comedy. But this is just full-on 25 minutes cartoon comedy. But the in-jokes just come thick and fast, and I absolutely enjoyed it and loved it. Obviously, there was a bit of time spent on Ark this week, as usual. Big shock horror there, yeah, exactly. Just building a new base on a new map on Scorched Earth. So, got loads of grand plans. But also tried a couple of other games this week, as I did have a bit of extra time off last week. I put Pillars of Eternity back on. I've been watching a lot of Critical Role, which is D&D online done by a lot of LA voice actors. Very popular for some people. I absolutely love it. I'm on the second campaign, and that kind of got me flowing for a little bit of RPG fantasy type stuff. So, I've tried to play Pillars of Eternity about 2 or 3 times before, and I've always been distracted by something else. But I popped that on, and I'm about 10 hours in, and I'm absolutely loving it. And then the other thing I tried this week was something that we'll be talking about in more detail later on, which was I had a little bit of a dabble in Medium.
Ooh,
the
good
Medium.
Stuff. Yeah, no, I look forward to talking about that because I've had a little dabble too. Cool. Right, we'll go over to Mr. Phil next. What have you been up to this week, mate?
Not a lot, the usual. Playing some games, watching some TV. So I finished season 2 of Designated Survivor. I'm anticipating a heavy downtrend in season 3, as the rumours have been said that it's not great. So I'm relying on your reference for that. So if I enjoy it, you suck. Other than that, I continued playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I'm now well into the swing of. I finally got into East Anglia. I was very excited. And actually, it did give me a kind of East Anglia feel. You know, like sometimes when they say, oh, this is a location of a game, and you go in and you're like, yeah, maybe it is. It was just little things like, for example, the ground was very sandy. And when you go into the coast, it's like that kind of the wooden rolling like sand hills.
Did you start finding discarded bottles of white lightning?
No, I don't know what the Viking equivalent of white lightning was. I mean, I did find the version of Thetford, and I'm pleased to report it's as much of a hole as it is now. Nothing changes.
Sorry, listeners in Thetford, but it is.
Yeah, and St Edmundsbury was taken over by some horrible other Vikings, so I had to go in and kill them all to reclaim the cathedral.
Well, Beodricksworth, remember? That's what its berry is, Beodricksworth.
Beodricksworth, yes. So yeah, I'm enjoying just walking around my local vicinity. It feels kind of similar, actually. It's quite nice. I think they've done a good job with that. Enjoyed that little bit.
Yeah, good stuff.
Moving on to more raiding down in London soon, hopefully, or London, however that translates to Viking. London.
Don't know if there's much translation with that, but yeah, no, good stuff, mate. Good stuff. I think we'll be talking about Valhalla for the next few episodes because it's pretty long, and I know I'm getting stuck in, and it's taking ages. But anyway, Mr. Ratley Ratster, what have you been up to, my friend? Smash Team or Lego up this week?
No, I haven't destroyed any more of my Lego this week. I took a break from that, given the literal heartache and pain of last week. So. This week I've been painting a lot, so I've been watching. Well, I say watching. I've had like Netflix on the background, and I've gone back through a series called Final Space. I don't know if any of you guys have watched that on Netflix.
Fantastic series. I
absolutely love that show. Like I was just watching it, and I know season 3 is like due any time, and I'm super excited for that. I actually really, really enjoyed Final Space. And if you haven't seen it, if you like a bit of sci-fi, it's good comedy in it. Totally love it. Great characters. Like if you watch it, Kevin the robot is like just the butt of like tons of jokes and is fantastic. And
I think I watched the first episode maybe, and then it didn't grab me initially, but so many people have said it's good. I need to get back into it.
Yeah, it's definitely one that's a bit of a slow burn. And like the second season, when I went into that after the end of the first season being so good, I was a bit like, this has not grabbed me. And then by the end of the second season, I was like, it really ramps back up, and they bring in new characters and everything, so it's really fun. And other than that, I played a bit of gaming. I did a bit of a Division as per, and then I also got stuck back into Scott Pilgrim on the Xbox after rebuying that because as I said, I bought it but I hadn't played it, and finally got stuck back in. Tell you what, it's way harder than I remember. Really? I've forgotten, like, before you level up and get all the abilities, like it's pretty tough. Like even the little nobody bad guys give you a right shoeing. So, yeah.
Is it online multiplayer?
Excuse me, yeah, it has got online multiplayer. So yeah, I was going to suggest that because I know you said about maybe getting it, and if you do, we need to hook up and play online multiplayer.
Yeah. I do love a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
The classic, aren't they?
Definitely.
It's a raid type thing as well. Yeah.
Great stuff. Cool.
Yeah, that was my week, really.
Yeah, sounds like everyone's had a nice, fun week, checking out some new stuff, watching some new shows and things. So I guess we're going to move on to the news now. So starting off, we had a bit of a lengthy discussion last week about a particular topic that Ratley had grabbed last minute, and as quickly as it appeared, it quickly seemed to change. Did you want to go through what's been going on, Ratley?
Well, it was typical, wasn't it? We recorded on the Friday night, and that the news had sort of just dropped that Xbox Live was going up by no small amount. Let's be honest, like it was nearly doubling for the cost of 12 months. we talked about it, and like I said, I think I think it's at the time the big idea was to make Game Pass look more attractive, and I even said in the last week's podcast that I didn't like the fact it was happening in the middle of the pandemic and people being squeezed. And sure enough, the internet turned around to Microsoft and went, "Are you having a fill-in laugh?" And proceeded to Microsoft a new one for, essentially trying to double people's outgoings during a time when people are struggling to put food on the table. And Microsoft got chewed by basically everyone for this, which I think is fair. I mean, we were quite easy on them last week, and I do think that what people have said about this is very fair. But yeah, basically Microsoft got absolutely raked over the coals for it, and have since turned around and gone, well, the very next day, in fact, I went, yeah, we might have got this wrong. We're really sorry. We're going to leave it as is. In fact, what they actually announced was no price increase, and they are unpaywalling free-to-play games. So, for example, Fortnite, which you don't have to pay to play, you used to have an Xbox Live Gold subscription to be able to play online. That's now going to be a thing of the past. You'll be able to just buy an Xbox, download Fortnite, and play it. There's no need for Xbox Live to be involved in that
that's
at all.
A serious U-turn from Microsoft there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just a U-turn; it's a U-turn and a backtrack. Yeah. So
U-turn into a donut.
Yeah. So I think what we get here is it was really good to see. I mean, it was really bad, like I said last week, of Microsoft to try and pull this then. But as I said, then business is business, and it will just do what it wants when it wants. It was really good of Microsoft to see the error of their ways so rapidly. I mean, I don't think they had much of a choice given the level of backlash on this. Like, it was literally everywhere, every YouTube channel, and we're calling them like basically greedy, money hungry, etc. Every Twitter account was just like up in arms about it. And I think they recognized their mistake quickly. They retconned that mistake and came back quickly. But then to unpaywall free to play as well, it's a step in the right direction. They've got to go some to make this back up. This has definitely hurt them. After having been the good guys of gaming for the past how long, being so consumer friendly, it just came out of left field. And I think they got this really wrong. But like I say, the good news is that they were able to spot their error very quickly and move to rectify it, shall we say. So fingers crossed, this will be the last of the major missteps, but you never know what's around the corner. But good on Microsoft for reversing it. It's what we all wanted. But poor show on doing it originally. Obviously, as we said, as I said last week, it was not the best timing.
I think it's impressive how nimble a huge company like that can be to make a decision and do a complete reversal on it in such a quick period of time. I think it clearly kind of shows that Xbox has a very important place to play within Microsoft. Because normally something like that, if that was a bit further down the pecking order, it would have had to gone all the way back to the top and all the way down again.
Yeah.
But, Phil's up there on the board and he can go bang and make the decision. And away you go.
I think that's right. I think that's in Phil Spencer tweet his apology on. It was actually a direct reply to Paris on Twitter, wasn't it? And he said, it was a real humbling experience. And I think the fact that it shows that Phil obviously has got the power to make important decisions rapidly if needs be. I mean, I'm sure he has to call or speak to Satya Nadella and go, look, we did this. It might have backfired a little bit. This is what we need to do. And I'm sure I'm sure Satya Nadella has enough faith in Phil to know that if he's saying this is a big problem, we need to fix it, he's in that position for that reason. So
totally.
I mean, it was good. Like I say, good response from them. I think shouldn't have been done in the first place, but good response.
Yeah, I'll be quite interested to hear Alan's side actually, because obviously you weren't here last week, and so we didn't get your take initially on what was going on. And I mean, I'll read the tweet out that Phil Spencer sent. This is the apology tweet. He said, "Apologies for all the angst and emotion this caused today for our customers. As always, we appreciate the feedback. This is a good learning opportunity for us, and we will learn from it." So it's quite it's a nice message he's put out there, and it sounds pretty genuine. Well, of course he's corporate, but it sounds pretty genuine. But the whole situation, what's your kind of thoughts right from the initial idea of it going up then to the
so my initial thought, and I do totally understand that the timing is pretty bad for this. Obviously, the main thing that's being labelled against when people are struggling, and one of their outlets is through gaming, and you're going to 75% price increase hike. Although, as you said last week, there are ways to circumvent that, to postpone that. But I have to kind of sort of say that the first thing that came to mind was that sometimes I kind of feel like the gaming community feels a bit privileged. So let's look at the example of how much games cost. How many years were we saying it was £40 for a game? Everything else went up in price. Everything. Pints of milk, Mars bars, and they got smaller, but that's by the by. But prices of games stayed at £40 for a decade longer. Yeah, and the minute anybody spoke about raising prices on games, everybody's up in arms. Oh my God, this is outrageous. You can't do this. And to be honest, I was one of those when it came to moving to digital, because I simply didn't understand how a game could be more expensive on digital than it was buying it from a shop, when you don't have transportation, packaging fees on top of everything. And then you go to buy it on digital and it's £10-20 more expensive. And it's like, I thought buying on digital would make it cheaper because you don't have all those overheads. But of course, that was an opportunity for the businesses and the developers and the distributors to actually make a bit more money because people were willing to pay for the convenience. But I'm afraid to say the gaming community as a whole does sometimes feel like it's privileged. And it seems like you try to increase the price on anything and there's a massive backlash and a massive outpour about it. And it's like, at some point, you've got to understand that these gaming companies are producing games that can take years to actually develop. Hundreds of people are involved and they have to put that money in out of their own budgets to make that game, and they don't get a return for 2, 3, 4, 5 years until that game comes out, while they sit there hoping that they'll desperately sell copies to make their money back. But after saying all of that, of course, Phil is the consummate, corporation leader. And he understands the message that Microsoft are trying to give out. And that message is, we want people to join our community. We want people to be part of our community. And I totally agree with Phil's take last week, where he says, at the end of the day, if the price of gold goes up, then that will make people jump ship and go, well, I may as well just buy Game Pass, which it's kind of, that's what it felt like to me. But at the same time, how much has Xbox Live Gold gone up in the last 10 years? Barely nothing, if at all.
Yeah.
And then we have a price increase, and don't get me wrong, it was a big price increase, but all of a sudden it's, oh my God, you corporate maniacs, how dare you? Yeah, but of course he had to make that move because that would really damage their, how they appear to the gaming public. So Phil and Microsoft had no choice but to backtrack and then do the extra thing of saying, okay, we're taking away the paywalls for these games, so we're trying to buy back that good favor that we've lost over this, because by God, they actually tried to increase the price of something. That's my take.
So just a quick thing on that, I was going to say, I mean, I totally get where you come from, and I agree. Do you think it would have been less hostile in terms of reception if they'd have been maybe not quite so steep on the price increase? Because it was a big price increase. It's not because of if they'd have gone, because I think the last time they increased Xbox Live pricing, it was nowhere near this volume. It was something like, I think it went up like 20% or 10%, something like that. So, but the 75%, I mean, the year on year, like from was it 50 quid to 80 quid or 85 quid?
I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy up to, right? So if they'd gone from, say, 50 quid to, say, I don't know, let's just pull a number out of here, 60 quid or 65 quid, let's say, right? 65 quid they've gone to. Do you think they would have had the same level of backlash? Because I don't think that would have happened. I think they were a bit too greedy is what really cost them here, to be quite honest. I mean, whatever you want to look at it, they just put it that little bit too far in my mind.
I can't disagree with you on that. Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. That the price hike was very large. And I think if they'd gone a little bit lower on that price cycle, maybe stepped it, done a price hike in, say, 1 year and then say, well, we're going to go up to this price in 2 years and then just increase incrementally, that would have been easier to swallow. But, I think that certainly didn't help with the level of backlash, that they received. So that was a bit of a misstep.
It was very tone deaf, definitely. It could have been handled differently. I'm quite interested again for Mr. Phil, because a bit of an outlier in kind of the conversation we've been having recently. We've not an outlier, that's a wrong word, but we've had quite different opinions around Game Pass and the price increase in Game Pass. And Phil's very convinced that there's a
we're going to see that price rise.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's going to be a little longer now. It's going to be a little longer now after this. Let me first on. What do you guys think to the rumor that Microsoft planned to do this and they'd always intended to remove that paywall for the free-to-play games, and that this was a stunt to whip up a media frenzy?
Oh, you
and then
cynic.
they get the backlash, and then they walk it back to the original plan, which was good for the consumer, because you're removing that paywall to get into the Xbox. What do you guys think about that? Because
okay, so I think that's the typical conspiracy theory nonsense. But you just look at it this way: they can just come out
it's
and
a
say with
rumor.
big fanfare,
Part of the fun of it, isn't it?
I say, but they can come out and say with a big fanfare, look, we've realised for this long we've been getting this wrong. We're now taking away all the paywalls for free to play games. Everyone goes, wow, good on Microsoft, pat 'em on the back, yeah, and they'll get plenty of coverage. Yeah, all right, they will get more coverage for this, but the majority of it, and the story is going to stay the same for a long time, is that Microsoft tried to fleece everyone during the middle of a plan to hand out for loads more money, and then they had to do this thing to give back. This will now be viewed as a Microsoft having to do it as an apology, as opposed to Microsoft wanting to do it to give back to gamers. So I can't see. It sounds great on paper.
It doesn't benefit them.
Theory, but in reality, this is a huge negative for them, as opposed to just a small positive. You always take a small positive over a huge negative, well, unless you're mental. So, I mean, as fun as it is to sort of imagine that somewhere in the world, Microsoft's got this grand master plan of evil, like, that's just the dumbest thing ever. Like, Microsoft makes their whole living selling stuff.
Haven't you realised the extra cost of that was to pay for the new Microsoft Death Star that they're building?
Oh, sorry.
We've just set the plans back by another 20 years now.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the Death Star or the whatever it is.
Yeah, it was like the size of a radio control car. It was going to float up. It was going to take out Apple HQ.
In fact, if they were going to remove the paywall, wouldn't it have made more sense to remove that before making the announcement on the Xbox Live price hike? Here, guys, we're taking this away from you. Oh, and by the way, we're going to charge you more for the Xbox Live.
Yeah, exactly.
That would look over here while we take the price wave away. Now bend over just more like it.
Exactly, that would have been the smart way to do it. So as much as it's fun, Phil, and I love that kind of delicious look in your eye of I can spark some controversy.
You know how I love a good rumour mill. Yeah, you know how I love a good rumour mill.
That is the dumbest thing I've heard in a long time. So yeah, but fair play to you, Phil. Well, thanks for bringing the conspiracy.
I love a good rumour mill. It's part of one of my favourite things about this.
The Illuminati.
Outrageous rumour. All right, steady on, Alan. They might be listening.
Triangle.
They're always listening.
No, it's the little heart that Alan can do.
What's that? Is that a loaf of bread?
Oh, that's nearly Alan. You nearly had it.
Our listeners who aren't watching the video are thinking, what the God hell are they going on about?
You live long and prosper, yeah. You got that one practiced.
Mr. Phil, so yeah, what do you think the whole Game Pass thing then?
What, in general, do I think the price is going to go up on Game Pass?
Because you kind of...
I still believe Game Pass price will go up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to wait until they introduce something else in there. Like I said, the next catalyst potentially could have been if they did that little Ubisoft deal. And I was thinking, they put that in, then you've got this incredible value with EA already in there. You then add Ubisoft in there, because that service on its own on PC has its own cost. I'm thinking, okay, that's the point. They're going to start to dip in those price increases, but after this current kickback, like you said, it's not ended well for Microsoft. It was not a good PR exercise at all. I would imagine perhaps that will be delayed, whether that means then potentially that they delay adding something else to the service, or let that burn out a little bit, let the fire burn out. But yeah, the price increase is coming.
So another conspiracy for you, maybe they did this so that when they add Ubisoft and they don't raise the price, they look like the supreme good guys.
Then they'll steal your children.
Right, good stuff. Cool. Yeah, well,
to the dark place quickly.
Phil's either really reinforced his point there, or he's dug his own grave on that point. So we'll find out at some point. No, it's that's good, mate. But at the end of the day, it's nice to, when you have differing opinions, to all talk about it. That's what it's all about. It's boring if we all agree completely on everything.
Sometimes I like to just throw the match at something that will burn and see what happens.
Yeah. Do you do it at your clock? Is that why you're always late?
Yeah, exactly. The same reason. It's true. It's also the same reason when I was trying to get into that house in Assassin's Creed and I couldn't work out which of the locks to shoot off. I just set fire to it instead. Seemed like a good alternative. I thought I'd just burn through the roof and see what happens. It didn't work, but it was a nice idea.
As long as it was Theatford. Yeah, as long as it was Theatford.
Yeah, that's it. So,
it's not enough there to burn, mate.
Well, moving on to the next point. There's been some rumours floating around about something that Well, I know it's got me excited, and I'm pretty sure it's got the rest of the boys excited, and particularly someone's been very vocal about it, Mr. Phil. Do you want to tell us what's got you so excited recently?
Yep. I've just bought some new underwear. They're really comfy. Oh, we're supposed to talk about games. Yes, I am very excited about the news that Knights of the Old Republic 3 will be happening.
I called it!
I'm so very excited for that.
Yep.
I don't know what form this is going to take. You know, Ratley again dropping in the rumor mill suggested they were perhaps going to streamline the first 2 games and bring them back into canon again, and then they could do the third one and finish the story. That's a possibility. Very excited by that. If they just do a new game, I'm also going to be excited by that. What they have said is it's not going to be a BioWare game. It's going to be an as unnamed studio developing for the LucasArts or the Lucas Games licensing. So yeah, very excited about that. What do you guys think?
Well,
I have heard a little rumor that Obsidian are in the ear. Now, don't get me wrong; they've definitely got their plates full these days. But those boys know how to craft a pretty darn fine game, no matter what genre they're doing it in.
They also did Knights of the Republic 2, so they will be the perfect choice.
Well,
but are they going to give the game to Microsoft?
This is what
they would do.
I can't see going to Microsoft. To be fair, well, yeah, as in, but again, this makes the Bethesda deal like all that more interesting, doesn't it? Because Microsoft have sort of not said about exclusivity the whole time, and I can't see like if they were offered the chance to build a Star Wars KOTOR game in one of their studios, like whether they would just make that exclusive to Xbox. It's never going to happen, right? But I didn't know this was official. I thought it was still a rumor. But either so, super excited for another more KOTOR. Who isn't, right? But yeah, Obsidian is a great fit. I wonder if, like, when Microsoft talked about case by case basis with the whole BioWare or whatever that deal was, that not BioWare, sorry, Bethesda deal. I wonder if that was what this is the kind of thing they meant. So they're going to have these high class studios, like names completely Obsidian come in and go, oh look, we've got a potential Star Wars thing on the go, and they're like, well, we won't make that exclusive if we buy you, but we will still have you develop exclusive titles and maybe make certain other things exclusive. But things like Star Wars, where it would limit their ability for those studios to even get that license. Because I can't see Disney now going, oh yeah, you can have it exclusive on the Xbox instead of missed out PlayStation. So I've got a funny feeling that Obsidian is a really good fit for this, and I would really hope it's Obsidian as well, given KOTOR 2 and their legacy thing with it, and the sort of rumor mill hinted quite massively at you'll never guess who it is. It's like, well, let me see. It's not EA, and it's not. Okay, well.
Quick interesting point. So KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2 both available on Xbox and PC, not available on PlayStation, to my knowledge. So they could, in theory, follow that route.
I believe KOTOR 1 was a console exclusive for Xbox, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. And then I think the PC porting was later rather than earlier. Okay. I'd have to check that. I don't know my sources on that one 100%, sure. But I believe it was later than the Xbox exclusive. And then 2 again was Xbox and PC as well. And, Xbox and PC's Microsoft's remit.
Was it? So KOTOR 2 was exclusive as well, was it?
It was Xbox and PC again.
Oh wow! All right, I didn't realise.
It came across both.
That gives even more weight to the Obsidian rumor and Microsoft taking hold of that then, because that's not really going to change anything.
Yeah. Just for reference, they're both backward compatible as well.
Yes,
so you can get them downloaded. I think the original is on Game Pass. The second one, I think you have to buy.
I think it might be the other way around, actually. I think the second one might be on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think the second one's on Game Pass.
I thought I had to buy the second one, but it could be the other way around. I played through them too quite recently, actually, like literally last year during lockdown. I was like, oh, I really fancy a Knights of the Republic play.
I've just checked that, by the way, and in terms of the availability, and it was Xbox, Windows, Mac OS, and it's since been released on iOS and Android as well. Looking at it, so just to give you the dates, Xbox was launched on July 15th, 2003 for the original KOTOR, and the PC release was November 19th. So it was an Xbox exclusive when it launched, and Mac was the following year. I mean, it does definitely, as you say, Alan, totally lend credence to the whole could be an Xbox exclusive. So maybe Obsidian is an even better fit than we think. I'd be surprised though if it went that way. But
and on that point, isn't it about time we had number 1 and 2 up for a remaster?
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah, I mean so Microsoft spent a bit of money doing the Xbox One X upgrade, didn't they, for KOTOR 1 and I believe KOTOR 2, which 4K'd the games, and I don't know if they increased the textures or not, but I know the game looked significantly better. But I think you're right, that kind of having a proper
a Final Fantasy 7 total remake.
Yeah, or Resi 2, like you were going to say. Yeah, definitely.
Or Resi 2 as well. Yeah,
that would be.
I mean, so many. We've seen it so much.
I wonder whether that's how KOTOR 3 will turn out, though, because obviously it'd be a lot of money to remake both of those games, and if they did canonize it, would they then alter the story ever so slightly? We kind of discussed this, and that would deeply, deeply upset the diehard fans like myself.
I was going to say the other thing with canonizing it, like surely they can just put it under isn't there that title that Disney have, which is Legends of the Old Republic or something, Star Wars Legends, which is non-canon, but like continuing.
I thought that's what they'd done with everything previously. Is like everything that wasn't in their canon line just got sort of shunted aside, and you're a legend, so it may or may not be true, and we can decide further down the line what to do with it.
Yeah. The thing is, everything they're releasing at the moment, they're not releasing anything that is legend. Everything they release now is all canon, isn't it? But there's no reason why they can't do a U-turn on the Old Republic stuff, because it's so far removed from every Star Wars property they've done, even from the High Republic, the books and I think the comic books they're bringing out, or might be books, I can't remember. They're again about 500 years difference in terms of the time period, different characters. It'd be easy to switch around and say, actually, no, these people did exist back in the Old Republic, so it's...
Isn't that the whole thing of, like, they can just switch it on, like you say, if it doesn't necessarily directly interfere with Star Wars, they can just go, totally, we'll make this actual canon now, why not?
I'm going to put it out there, does it really matter?
It doesn't to me. It doesn't matter to me at all. The purists will go nuts, obviously.
Well, they always do it. Spend their entire life thumbing through Reddit threads going, oh no, that's not canon.
But for me, in the world, or in the world we live in now, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe having movies all tied into TV shows and having graphic novels and things on the sides, I think if they brought the Old Republic stuff and actually brought it canon, and then future Star Wars properties that they started to release would then refer to that Old Republic stuff and start bringing some of those maybe distant storylines in. I mean, it's nice to have that real deep lore as part of something. But you are right. Yeah. Just give us the game, man. I don't care whether it's canon or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only time a game being made canon or what have you has ever bothered me was definitely Colonial Marines. I'm just like going to get that in there.
Yeah,
Colonial Marines being canon is just like the greatest sin ever.
You know what? Me and Phil were having a conversation the other night on Xbox, and we were talking about scary games, and we were talking about Alien Isolation, and I was saying how that really scared the living daylights out of me. And Phil says, "What I really would like is I'd like an action Aliens game." I was like, "Mate, I've got just a game for you, Colonial Marines." But anyway,
there was stone dead silence from that.
Speaking of scary games, there's been something new that's just came out on Game Pass that's quite exciting. I know I've had a little go on it, but I also know Alan's put a couple of hours in, and he's going to tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, the Medium came out Thursday, I believe, yesterday. So I've had a couple of hours playing it. It's not usually the type of game I would play. It's a bit of a point-and-click adventure. And it has got one feature that I absolutely hate. Let's get the negatives out of the way first. I absolutely hate fixed-point cameras in games. I hate them all the time, and people who are listening won't get this. I do this in the game. Up against walls. Because I don't know where the freaking door is. How to take you out of immersion. I hate fixed camera games. Let's just get that out of the way. But upon saying that, I really like some of the features the game has. I'm not that far into it, so I think I haven't got all of the abilities. Looking like the mapping of the keys, there are some things I still have to kind of get through. So far, the puzzle element of it has been interesting, but not exactly taxing. I wouldn't say they were difficult. Most of the time, it's kind of like... I think one of the features that, and I think I'm right in saying that the Medium is the first exclusive to this generation of console. The first one. So one of the big features that they were talking about with this whole split screen thing, where you actually control the character in two different environments at the same time, and it looks lovely. I mean, jumping back and forth a little bit here, but the graphics are very nice. The atmosphere is really, really nice. And I've read in some sort of commenters that they're talking about the drop in graphics fidelity when you go to the split screen mode. Well, duh. You know, I mean, all of us have played like split screen games. You know, it takes more processing power to do, so the graphical quality is less on there. But to be honest, you know me, guys, I'm not all about the frames per second or the bits per inch on the screen or whatever it is you guys technically talk about. I just look at a game and I say, do I like how pretty it is? And the medium is very, very pretty. I really like the aesthetic, whether it's in double screen or single screen. I love the story that's being told so far. I love the environment. And I'm really looking forward. I don't think it's apparently a very long game. I mean, I'm very slow on these sorts of games, mostly because I'm walking into walls all the time. But I've heard that it's about 8 hours long, so that'll probably take me about 10 to 16 hours to finish it. But so far, I'm really enjoying the experience. And yeah, I mean, that's all I've really got to say about it. Yeah. If you like adventure sort of puzzle solving, little sort of easy puzzles, you don't want anything that's too complicated. I haven't been chased by anything yet. Let's make that perfectly clear.
That was my question. I was going to ask if you'd met an antagonist yet, which I have. So I'm a bit further ahead than you. So
right.
Have you made it into the hotel area, the main building?
I have. I've met the girl.
Okay, cool. That's all in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. So I've got probably a couple of hours ahead. Maybe I was actually playing it the other night with Chris, my wife. For people who don't know, she was sat next to me watching. She likes watching me play horror games because she waits for me to poop myself and go like a little girl and throw the controller across the room, which I do quite regularly. And there has been a couple of pretty nasty jump scares in that I've actually let go of the controller. So it's been pretty good. Yeah, I'd have to say, beautiful graphics. I think I love what they've done with it, and I actually really like that fixed camera. It's kind of quite nostalgic for me. I used to love point and click adventures back in the day, and I find it quite cinematic. Sometimes it can be frustrating, like you say, when you kind of run down a way and you're just running against the camera because you can't see that there's a wall there that you're running into, and I get the frustration from it, but it certainly works in its favour later on in the game, definitely. That's all I'll say. Yeah, it does work for it. And I think, there's some really good... I really like a lot of the voice acting in it. It's actually got Troy Baker in it.
Superb. Yeah,
Troy Baker's in it later on. In terms of the split screen side of things, it is... really quite impressive how it kind of flips between the two. There's
clever.
Very clever, very clever. And it requires you to really think outside the box when you're playing the game. One thing I would say with it that I was quite surprised on is there's a certain point where, again, without spoilers, you can do something that will allow you to go between the spirit world and the real world. And you kind of, when you move from one to the other, it kind of goes to a bit of a cutscene. But as you move into the cutscene, none of the textures on her character model load in immediately. They're like sort of 2 or 3 seconds later before they come in, which I was quite surprised with, considering the speed of an SSD. I was surprised that happened, but it could be one of those things that will get patched out later. But also when you go through the menu and you look at little items, it's very much like Resident Evil, where you have little 3D models that you'll move and you can kind of spin them round to inspect them. When you flick between them, they go low res, high res. You flick over, low res, high res. So I just wasn't expecting that from the next gen game. But having said that, they're a tiny Polish studio, and I think if they had Bloober Team, they made what's it called, Layers of Fear. And I can't remember the other game they made. I think it was another horror game they made. But
they're known for the horror games. I can't remember the one either. But two horrors.
Yeah, it's really impressive what they've done. One thing you can really tell the difference between a small studio and a large studio is character animation. So there's nothing wrong with the character animation, but you look at something like, I don't know, The Last of Us 2, for example, with the Naughty Dog, massive studio with unlimited money behind them, full motion capture. You can tell the difference, with the facial animation stuff, but it doesn't pull you out of the game at all. And I urge anybody who's got Game Pass, definitely.
I'd have to say the quality of the voice acting really helps with that. The voice acting so far, and I've only really sort of had the two characters that I've spoken, the main protagonist and as I said, the girl, and the voice acting is absolutely simply superb. But as you said, it's available on Game Pass, so if you've got Game Pass, it is definitely worth downloading and hours of your time, because they've achieved something quite special considering the size of the studio. And as you said, it is very, very small. And if you look back at their previous work, their escalation on the complexity of their game and how far they've come with the medium is quite phenomenal. If they had a lot of money and a much bigger team, I'd be very surprised to see what they would be able to turn out.
Yeah, and wear headphones when you play it, definitely, because the sound design is amazing. But I mean, Ratley, have you tried it yet, or?
I haven't. It's on definitely on my list. The weird thing is, like, I'm not big into these like fixed camera horror games like Resident Evil, etc. But the really weird thing for me was I got like really reminiscent about a game I played years ago on my Amiga. So way back when, not the re-released rehashed version, but Alone in the Dark, the one which had the proper polygon man. Did you ever play that, Alan, with the big pointy nose, like where you had super low res polygon dude, and he had like a quadra thing in his head, like there was like smooth textures. And
I loved that game.
It looked like a dude. You had wonky arms and he walked like this, and like ran really funny, like kind of like this, and a little waistcoat on, the stripy waistcoat. And that game, like I remember playing loads of that, and it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
So going back to your point about like graphics, Al, and like how it's important, it got me thinking as you were talking, like graphics are important to a point, obviously, and we've got to that point now where we wouldn't accept blocky polygon man as a workable solution. But like go back a bit and talk about Alien Isolation, like we did earlier. That game isn't particularly impressive graphically, but it sets atmosphere really well, right? And from what I've seen of the medium, the atmosphere is really important. And in a horror game, the atmosphere is where it's at, right? So, like, that's the thing with Alien is the times it's the scariest is when there's nothing going on, because you spend the whole time going, oh God, someone's going to kill me any second. And I got the impression the medium had like a really nice atmosphere, and that sort of got me definitely more interested in playing it. I do want to see what it looks like and play it. I've only heard good things. It hasn't all been sort of stellar praise, but it's all been pretty much like, oh yeah, it's really good example of what it is. Yes, it is a little low budget, but it's a good game per se. So I'm excited to try it. I will certainly download it, but you guys know how rubbish my internet is, so I have to kind of limit what I can download.
Play it next week.
Yeah, I might get around to it in a year or so once it's downloaded off my rubbish internet. But I am looking forward to it. It looks good.
Cool stuff. You tried it, Phil?
I have indeed. Yeah, I stuck about an hour and a half into it, much like Alan. It gave me some real good Resident Evil and Dino Crisis vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly from the fixed camera angles. And much like Alan, I hate fixed camera angles. I really do, because I spend all my time walking into stuff, and I can see the little dot for the thing you've got to pick up. And it takes me like 3 attempts to get to the right position where I can then press the X button to look at it. But I'm liking the nostalgia feeling of like the original earlier Resident Evils and the Dino Crisis games. God, why can't they remake a Dino Crisis game? I'd love to play a remake Dino Crisis.
It's called Ark.
I'd love to play a Resident Evil 2 Dino Crisis game. Like a Resi 2 of Dino Crisis, yeah. But I'm really looking forward to playing some more of that. It's really impressive what they've done with it. They almost give me that little kind of Ninja Theory vibes about the studio, like a small studio comes up with a nice, big, good quality game. It gives me that Ninja Theory feeling. So
very artistic.
Fingers crossed for more.
Yeah. Well,
yes,
maybe
it's all.
Yeah, I'll say maybe they will do a Dino Crisis game in the future, but it depends on.
Oh no more fixed camera angles. No.
Okay, we'll change it about. But
no.
Dinosaurs, although I've often heard referred to as large lizards. Quite often. Do you know what else is a large lizard?
Good segue, Mr. Larter.
Oh, I like this. That was smooth.
It's Godzilla versus Kong. Isn't it King
and
of the Monsters?
Godzuki.
Oh, Godzuki, what a loser.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, so the new trailer has dropped. Godzilla versus King Kong, and I mean, I watched that trailer. it's one of those weird ones. Monster movies. I would never say to myself, "Oh yeah, a new monster movie coming. I'm really excited for it." Or I'd never say to anyone, "Yeah, I'm really into monster movies." But whenever there's a Godzilla film or whenever there's a King, I always love it. And the trailer came out, and just seeing those two going at it on the bridge of a aircraft carrier, I was like, "Oh yeah." And then
are you still talking about Godzilla or a porno movie?
No, it's definitely Godzilla. Definitely Godzilla.
Okay. Just checking.
Just heading that fine line of PG there.
Just checking.
We wobbled hard then on that PG line.
Really wobbled hard. You have to put a pound in the inappropriate box, Alan.
Sorry.
Just like King Kong did to Godzilla on the aircraft carrier, yeah.
Oh, smackdown!
That's a fiver in the inappropriate box from Phil.
Oh, but it looks pretty. I mean, has anybody else seen it, Mr. Ratley?
Have I seen it? About 20 times. So when they announced it, like obviously we had, I don't know if you've seen the recent ones, obviously we had Godzilla. The first one was kind of rubbish because it spent like far too much time not having Godzilla in it. And then we got the Godzilla King of Monsters. And I really enjoyed King of Monsters, even though I still didn't have enough Godzilla or other monsters in it. But I still really enjoyed it. And when I saw Kong, I remember seeing Kong and thinking, I was just going to watch this for a laugh because, Skull Island this was. And I was like, again, I'm not like yourself. I'm not like the biggest fan of monster movies, but I was like, yeah, it looks like fun. It looks stupid. It looks like switch your brain off, chomp some popcorn, just have a good time, And I remember just really enjoying Kong and then seeing the Easter egg crossover with Godzilla. I was like, ooh. And then obviously we get this Godzilla versus Kong is happening. The trailer dropped, and I was just like, "This is going to be rubbish." And then, like you said, that shot where Godzilla climbs up on the aircraft character and Kong just lamps him around the face with that spectacular hook. I was like, "This is so good!"
Yeah, with a banging soundtrack behind it as well.
Yeah, totally. And then like seeing the shots in the sea where Kong had the weapon and stuff, I was like, It was like gave me real Pacific Rim vibes at points, and I love Pacific Rim. I know we're not going to get the mechs versus monsters, but there's that done monster movie done right, because that's one thing Pacific Rim did better than like most of the other monster movies we've had, was it got the monsters right, and then it chucked in mechs done right on top of that, and then with Godzilla, at least Godzilla was done right throughout the whole of this series, and then to see Kong done right, and now to see them both coming together, oh my god, 13-year-old me is going nuts at this idea, Totally. And considering 42-year-old me is basically 13-year-old me in a much older body that's falling apart, he's very happy,
Oh, mate, quality stuff, quality. So, Phil, I know you are not really a monster movie fan, but you are a mech fan, a large mech fan. What do you think of
exactly? So I watched the trailer, and it was a trailer done right. Like the music soundtrack was great. I really enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the action, particularly as discussed, the pounding on the aircraft carrier. I thought that was a proper sick move. So yeah, I will watch it. It will be one of those though that for me, it's going to wait until it either comes to Netflix or it's like on Now TV or something. It's not something I'd go to the cinema and watch. Not that we can go to the cinema. I'm sure it'll be a straight to rental again. Like everything in the current climate.
Hopefully not another $15.99 like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
God, yeah, I mean, I rented that actually, but it worked out because it was my dad's birthday. So I was like, oh yeah, we'll rent that. We'll watch it as a family. We can't go anywhere.
Smooth.
I'm not sure that was $15.99 well spent, if I'm honest with you, but it's all right. Anyway, we're talking about a different movie. We're talking about the Godzilla movie. And yes, I'm looking forward to that when that comes to me in a manner that I consider free to watch rather than having to pay towards it.
Yeah.
It's not, some cheap website on the internet because I can't stand the low quality.
Yeah. Everybody has their own likes and dislikes when it comes to movies and games and stuff. What about you, Alan?
Feels wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Some opinions are just wrong, Phil, yeah.
I think it's fair to say I'm only here because I have the opposite opinion to you guys sometimes.
Well, that's exactly what I was
That is my character.
So from my point of view, I really, really enjoyed the first Godzilla movie, and I'm not want to make this clear, talking about the Matthew Broderick version. I think I know that you might like that one, Craig, but I wasn't the best fan. I mean, how do you lose a giant blooming lizard in the middle of a city?
I love that film, man.
Oh, he's disappeared. Where did he go? Oh, dear Lord.
Dumb film, man. I'm with you, Alan.
Yeah. Absolute nonsense.
I love
it. I'm talking about the first Godzilla movie, which Elliot, my wife, we really, really enjoy. And don't get me wrong, I'm just like you guys. I love a movie where you've got giant mechs fighting giant monsters, or giant monsters fighting other giant monsters, or lots of giant monsters fighting other monsters and giant mechs. I mean, I love all of that. I love Pacific Rim. I love the second Godzilla movie, certainly for the fights. But the first movie to me was so much better because it was more about the story of how insignificant the people were. You followed this guy as he's following Godzilla effectively across the country just to get to his family, whilst Godzilla is all around him wreaking complete havoc, and everybody is completely helpless and cannot do anything about it because you cannot stop a 300, 400 foot, I don't know how big the blooming thing is, high lizard stomping around the place.
He just
wrecks. Exactly, just wrecks everything. He goes in to save somewhere, and by the time he's gone out, there's just devastation. And that movie, to me, really exemplified and showed that from a human perspective. Then we get to the second film.
Are you talking about the Bryan Cranston one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. Yes. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you're talking about the last one, which was, and then you're Millie Bobby Brown in it, and it's like this child somehow manages to always be in the right place at the right time. Somehow she's connected to Godzilla, and the story to me was complete pulp and nonsense. But the battles were epic. They really, really were. And then you go to Kong. I love the Kong story, the most recent one, absolutely fantastically done. Thinking they're not making Kong Island again, are they? And then you watch it and you think, oh no, this is really good. This is absolutely fantastic quality film. So when I watch the trailer for this, don't get me wrong, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, wow, yeah, the battles look awesome. Kong getting up on the aircraft carrier and smacking a right hook right across Godzilla's mush. Fantastic stuff. I love it. And then they start showing Millie Bobby Brown and I'm thinking, oh God, here we go again. We're going to be following a teenager across the country in a pursuit to save a huge dinosaur. Yeah, I will reserve judgment until it comes out.
I totally get it, though. I think there's often this is talked about, and I think that sometimes with films like this, having it too human can get in the way. But then if you're not human enough, sometimes there's nothing to connect to. So totally get that. So I often talk about AVP in this respect, and don't get me wrong, neither of those films are particularly good movies, right? They're pretty poor examples. But the first AVP tries to make the humans the reason you're there to watch that film, and the reality is you're never there to watch the humans in that movie, right? You want to see aliens, you want to see predators, and you want to see them kick 7 barrels of snot out of each other.
Yeah.
Right? And so as much as AVP Requiem is a dumb as a box of rocks movie, right? It's got the intelligence level of a cucumber. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It is a movie where the people are only in it to die. Yeah. They only exist to get chopped up or
It's
shot or face hugged. Exactly right. And people go, oh, it's really wrong. It's just what do you mean? It's exactly why I went to see this film. I don't care about the people. I never cared about the people in these movies. Yeah. I just want them to die horribly. That is the point of them in this movie. So
I love it when they try a bit of character development. They're like, let's try it, and then nobody cares.
Who cares, right? Yeah. We don't care about this. One of the best bits in AVP Requiem is where there's that annoying teenage blonde girl who's been running about the whole time, and she just gets stuck to the wall by that disc thing the Predator's got, and you're just yeah, we didn't care about her. She's gone annoying me now. She's just a decoration on a wall somewhere.
It's a Roman Colosseum. Thumb down.
So, I totally get where you're coming from. There's got to be a human cost sometimes, but sometimes it gets in the way. I think, I know you come from the Godzilla movie. I really enjoyed that movie, so it made it sound like I didn't earlier. But it wasn't what annoyed me, I think, more about it was when we did have Godzilla in that movie, especially in the early half of that movie, it got in the way of just not showing you Godzilla. So there's a great moment I remember where they were filming, where they were on the train, and you just see Godzilla's feet. And at that point, it just became infuriating to not see Godzilla, not even see it from the person's point of view, just to see these feet stomping about the place. I was
I think that was the point, wasn't it? But that was kind of the point of the movie. Yeah.
But to look up and see Godzilla as well would have just been a far more entertaining shot, I think. So I totally get where you're coming from, and I totally agree that the first Godzilla movie was a better film per se than King of Monsters, but King of Monsters is definitely a more fun, popcorny flick. And I think let's not kid ourselves here. It's Godzilla versus Kong, right? This was never going to be anything but dumb, through and through.
Yeah.
It's just giant monkey punching giant radioactive lizard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, what else
It's not
is
going to be winning any Oscars,
dumb?
is it?
Well, visual effects maybe.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Those effects were incredible, but the script is going to be about the fact. Yeah, we've got back to Kong and the little girl with the finger thing. I was like, that is incredibly dumb, but I get they're humanizing him, because obviously, this is where it's going to go. But that was stupid.
Stupid. I have read some of the fanboys are a bit upset because they're going, why are they making Godzilla the bad guy? And, it's going to be a load of rubbish. And it's the usual internet thing where you've seen a 2-minute trailer and you've already judged a 2-hour film off 2 minutes of footage culled specifically from the film to make you interested. It's all going to be action and it's all going to be... No, just watch the film and make a decision.
Right. Yeah.
Don't judge a film on its trailer, for goodness sake.
Well, I like what they've done with the trailer, because they've turned around and they've said, we need Kong, Kong, he's our only hope, but they're also saying something's happening to Godzilla. What's making him attack? So there's obviously something else in the distance. So it's certainly not definitive, and people have clearly not watched it or watched it with sound, to make that kind of decision. Really,
well, there's so many points.
Aren't the best trailers controversial? I was going to say, aren't the best trailers controversial? Where you don't really know what it's about. That's a sign of a good trailer, I think.
Exactly, and I've seen trailers where the trailer was garbage, and the movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I've seen trailers where the movie where the trailers were insanely good, and then the film is complete garbage. And you're just so judging a movie from a trailer is stupid, right? Because if you watch the trailer for Aliens, let's put an example, one of my favorite movies, trailers are awful for that movie. They're really not very good. You wouldn't be super excited to see it if you didn't know what it was. And that film is phenomenally good. The Jurassic Park trailer, other than there's a few dinosaurs, it isn't particularly good because they obviously didn't want to spoil too much of the dinosaurs before you went into cinema. There's so many films where they're obviously, this obviously had to show Kong punching or them having a fight somewhere. But sometimes there is that thing of you get to see what they want you to see and not the rest of it because, this thing. And we've all seen a good movie with a bad trailer or a bad trailer. The Matrix is one of my ones I remember. I remember seeing the trailer for The Matrix and being like, nah, whatever. Yeah. And then when I went to see The Matrix for the first time, sitting in the cinema, no one had really seen it when I saw it. I think I saw it like day of release in the UK. And I'm sitting there watching it. And I'll never forget, we sort of went to the cinema this day and I was working evenings at the time. And it was like, afternoon, I was like, I've got time for a movie. And we looked at the time and we were like, this Matrix is on, but it's on. And I said to my mate, I never forget, I said, let's get The Matrix. I'll go to that screening and, I'll leave at this time, midway through it. And if it's any good, I'll come back and finish watching it another day. Because, we didn't really expect doing much. The trailer had been kind of meh. And I don't forget, we sat in the cinema watching The Matrix, and my mate leans over to me and goes, Chris, you need to go, mate, or you'll be late for work. And I went, screw work, I ain't going anywhere. No, I'm not missing the end of this. And I just called in sick when I left The Matrix.
It was the right move.
I feel really ill.
Yeah, man. It's funny you saying about Jurassic Park, actually, trailers. I remember being in the cinema as a kid and seeing that trailer. It was just the kind of the camera panning through the mine with workers working away. And then someone's kind of running outside and then somebody getting and polishing off that mosquito trapped in the amber.
In the amber,
and then just having a skeleton. It was Jurassic Park. And I was like, yes. And that's all I ever saw it before I went to go and see the film with my granddad. And what a film that was. What a film. Anyway, we've been going on quite a bit about that now. And I think we're getting around about the time to move on to our next section. So we have this week a question from the lovely Ellie. You may remember Ellie from our Halloween episode. She did our lovely Halloween quiz.
Haven't met her.
Haven't met her, no? Okay. I think you'd like
That's
her.
That's concerning.
Alan, yeah. Just walk downstairs. You'll probably spot her. But so she's posed a question for us. And the question is, what is your favourite piece of geek/gaming memorabilia you own and why? So it's a bit of a show and tell. So I think first, as it is his better half, we're going to go to Alan first. So what have you got for us, mate? What are you going to show us?
All right. Well, I think we can tell by behind me, I do like collecting things, and I'd like to collect more controllers but they are quite pricey, and we're trying to buy a house at the moment, so I've kind of got a spend freeze on at the moment. So, but I'd like to have a lot more bespoke controllers and special edition ones. And also Pop Heads. I remember when Pop Heads first came out, I was very much like, what a load of rubbish, bloody teenage kids. Bits of plastic, buying them. What's the point? Don't they? Absolute rubbish. And then I went to a convention and people walking around in boxes and I was like, bloody idiots. And then I got given one for Christmas, like, oh, this is quite good, this, actually. And then before I know it, I think I've got about 40 now, all dotted around. And if you haven't noticed watching the video podcast, I change these every week for a different two. This week we have a Space Wolf Space Marine and an Ultramarine.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, different ones next week. Watch this space. But no, as far as my memorabilia, some of my best memories when it comes to geek and definitely geeky moments, less gamey, more geeky, is going to a couple of comic book conventions in London and seeing some of the people who are in some of my favourite TV films and TV programmes. And I've got a couple to show you and I'll explain them to the listeners. So this one here is Mr. Alan Tudyk. Yeah.
Lovely.
And I believe I might have mentioned him before, Wash, and he even signed it. And you can't see it, I think it's reversed, but it says, I am a leaf on the wind. He was a lovely, lovely man, and I was really grateful to meet him. Then we have another one here. This is Mr. John Rhys Davis. My axe! Yeah, Mr. Gimli or the Professor from Sliders. Very nice man as well. And I've got a couple more to show you, if you will forgive me. Then we have Mr. Andrew Robinson, otherwise known as Garrick from DS9. Yes. Again, some of these guys were absolutely lovely. I have to say a couple of them I met were a little bit standoffish, and one of them I will be showing you in a second. Of course, Mr. Michael Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor. I don't know any naysayers out there, but I'm a big fan of Smallville. I thought it was a fantastic series in the development of Superman. Yeah. I thought it had a really good curve and I enjoyed the characters. Let's not talk about one of those and what she's got up to these days. However, that's a different story. And then we have Mr. Will Wheaton. He was a little bit...
Wheaton!
The curse of Will Wheaton is something that's talked about on Critical Role because he's a big part of the Geek and Sundry website, the Geek Twitch channel, and he's infamous for rolling ones all the time or causing people to roll ones. He was a little bit standoffish. He was a little bit like, a lot of them, they shake your hand and they come out and I put my hand out to shake it and he just wanted to fist bump. And I can sympathise, but it didn't feel like he was quite as welcome as some of them. Maybe he was just tired. Fair enough to him. And the last one I'm going to show you is this fellow here. Now, this isn't actually signed to me. This is Mr. Tommy Flanagan of... what's that T-shirt you're wearing, Craig?
That is a bit of the old Sons of Anarchy. People might have noticed
Redwood Original, yes, indeed. And this is, of course, Chibs from that. And this was signed by him to my wife. He is probably the only man that Ellie will leave me for if he asked. but it was him and Bobby. Actually, I've got his picture now. I've lost it in the pile now because we've got quite a few. But it was him and Bobby there together. And I have to say, these guys were amazing. Because you know what it's like at these conventions? They want to get as many people through as possible because every person through is more money. But these guys, they were having none of it. They were having a blast. They were coming out. They were hugging people, putting their arms around them. And they were going, no pictures, and they would go, F off, and then they'd come out and take pictures anyway with you, and they'd stay and they'd talk to you as well. Absolute gentlemen, absolutely pleasure meeting them, even if Ellie got the picture that was signed, and I hope she never meets him again.
Lovely, thank you, Alan. Thanks for showing us those bits, they're awesome. So I think we're going to go over to Mr. Ratley next, so we're going to put him on full screen. Here he is.
I'm going to dip out of frames pick. So I haven't got many signed things like Alan. I have got one signed thing that was given to me, and I'll cover that after. It was something a very touching gift I received from some friends of mine, which I'll talk about. I couldn't get hold of it because it's put somewhere safe, and I haven't got access to it at the moment. So forgive me for having that. But I'll cover a couple of things.
Maybe we check it. Maybe we check it next week or something.
If I can get hold of it, I'll show it at some point because it is very cool.
You can get it out of the vault, yeah.
Well, you guys know I have lots of stuff, right? We've covered this, but I know we've talked about this. I've got so many collectible. I am the merchandiser's wet dream. It's like, stick that on it and call it collector's edition. He'll buy it. It's like, yes, I will. Yes.
So do you need a couple of minutes, Ratley, to get your stuff together?
No.
Phil, you got it there?
It's next to me, but I'm going to be dipping out a frame to get it.
Okay,
so
no worries.
like that in my mind. So the first thing I'm going to show you is something which is just cool. I love it because it's just cool. It's so dumb, and me having it is dumb. But it's cool, and you guys have seen this, so I think you guys know this is cool. But hold on, there's this thing, which is
that's cool.
Oh yes,
this is my Lancer from Gears of War. one of the dumbest things I own, but also one of the coolest things I own. This was originally gold. I repainted it because it looked rubbish in gold, and I wanted it to look like legit. Obviously, it was sold in gold in UK for replica gun laws, because of course this looks real.
Yeah, that's what the hunters in Thetford
big,
Forest are out with. Yeah,
like look, this is the handle for it. Look at the handle. It's comedy large. It's ridiculous. So yeah, of course, guns with chainsaws, totally real, right?
What's it made of?
Lancer from Gears of War. So it's just a plastic model, mate. Yeah. Perfect. It has got some movable, like you can take the mag out if you want to, things like that. So yeah, it's just, I just love it. It's just stupid, and I love it.
Good job this isn't live. You might get swatted otherwise.
Yeah, well, you know. I was worried about getting like nerds coming and raiding me after this. I'm going to put that down. Hold on. Oh, and then I'm going to knock over the other thing. Now the other thing I have, you guys have also seen this, and I love this. And this is this.
Oh yes.
Which is my M41A pulse rifle. So it's an airsoft gun. I airsoft. It's whenever I take it out on the field, I get stopped. I spend more time on an airsoft field the days I rock this, telling people, yes, it's a pulse rifle. Yes, you can look at it. Yes, this is what it is, blah, 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 than actually doing much airsofting, because I literally just get like never any. Is that a pulse rifle? Yes, it's a pulse rifle. You know,
I was just about to say, does that happen while you're actually in battle? You're running around, you shoot some gun, and you go, oh, hang on a minute, is that a pulse rifle?
Legit has happened to me, mate, 100%. And there was one time we went to many years ago. We went to a site in Reading called the Mall, and it was an old, disused shopping centre. And they had it to run airsoft events in. It was a very interesting day. Like, we didn't know, but I packed up all of my airsoft guns. At that point, I had tons. Right, get to Reading, and then I realised I've left all of the batteries for my guns at home. So, if for people who don't know, we live like 150 miles from Reading, give or take. So I was basically stuck with a ton of guns and no batteries. Thankfully, one of my friends had a battery that would fit my pulse rifle, so I spent the whole day with my pulse rifle. And I was in a corridor after a gunfight. I took this guy out, and he just looked at me and went, "Excuse me, mate. I know I'm on the other team, but is that a pulse rifle?" And I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Can I have a look at it?" And I was like, "Yes." We're just standing in the middle of what is basically a war zone, checking out my gun, and I'm just like, it's hilarious, but like so dumb. But yeah, so love this. It's absolutely my baby. As my love of aliens is a thing, and I absolutely love it. I genuinely do. It's it's so cool.
It's wicked.
Always wanted one. The next thing is I need to get a smart gun to go with it, really, don't I? So let's be honest, right?
Yeah, that won't take too much room up.
Yeah,
great stuff. Thanks for that, Ratley. Any more you've got?
No, a couple of other things. Other things I want to say. One is really important. So over that side, I have a original shooting script from Aliens, which is very cool, but I can't take it off the wall. Well, I won't take it off the wall because knowing me, I drop it. Over here is my Marcus Phoenix standee. Now he's important because he was up for a charity auction at a game event for the Gears of War 3 launch. I went to pick up my midnight launch. The girl I knew who worked the game wanted to auction it off for charity. I bid on him and won it. Money went to charity. Good thing. But he's just like that night was just a really good night with friends. It's got really good memories. But the next one is the last one I'm going to show, and it's something super important to me. It's kind of silly. But this is my Division watch. And we all know, like, as from previous weeks, how important the Division is. But this one has so this was a birthday present from my close friends. I was going through a really, as we've discussed before, a really crappy time around this, and the Division was about, and this birthday they threw for me. It was ridiculous. And like we had a proper party. We did, like, one of my friends built a whole role-playing system so we could play an Aliens role-playing game he'd made. And he also made me, like, because I sent him a video a few months later, because my mate Paul makes cakes and he's pretty good at it. He's not professional or anything, but he's pretty good at it. And I sent him this video a few weeks of this YouTube lady called Yolanda and how to cake it. And it was a BB-8 cake. I was just like, look how cool this is, right? With, like, not any kind of insinuation of make me a BB-8 cake. But on my birthday that year, they'd made me a BB-8 cake. And so I got a BB-8 cake. I got the best day with great friends. And I was given the Sleeper Agent edition of the Division, which at the time was super hard to come by. They'd all got me it. And, like, I wore this, like, non-stop. And I know a lot of people don't wear these because they're worth, like, silly money. But I wore it, and it's always one of these things I wear with me, and it always reminds me of, like, how lucky I am to have people who would go out of their way to do things like that for me. So it's hugely important to me, and it's not even a particularly great watch. Reality, it does do the glowy uppy thing, which is cool.
Thanks for the present, guys. It's a bit shit, but I really love it.
This could have been the world's worst watch, but it would still been a Division watch, which makes it cool.
Yeah.
And the fact they went out of their way to get me something they knew would be, and like I say, throw me that mega birthday party. Like, to this day, I don't think they quite. And the weird thing is, like, I remember back on it, I was still in a bad place. I was actually kind of shitty on that day to like most of these people, which is, because of what was going on with me. But yeah, that always serves as a pretty solid reminder of how lucky I am to have some mega people in my life. So cool, there you go. That's some of my. There's the other thing I would show you, but I haven't got, is some friends of mine got me a signed postcard from HR Giga.
Oh wow!
And obviously I love Alien. HR Giga is also like an artist. I saw his work and just went, oh my god! And the man is a messed up genius, but a genius no doubt. And when my friends were just at a tattoo convention in I think it was in Germany. And they came back and like, we've got something for you. You're gonna love it. It's a present. I was like, whatever. Okay, well, it can't be that good. And they were like, trust me, it's amazing. You're going to be totally blown away. And they sat down, and at first it had like a few photos to say that Giga was there and these photos. I was like, wow. And then they just handed me this postcard, and it had to Chris. And I was just like, get out of town. This wasn't signed by him, was it? They were like, yeah, totally. And I was like, you have that moment where you can't quite figure out how to say things. Whilst I never got to meet him, which would have been amazing. It was just like to have, again, people think of me was really touching. So yeah, mega bit of kit. So yeah, they're my few collectible nerdy stuff, but the watch is super important to me.
Nice.
Needs new batteries though, which is annoying.
To be fair, we could probably do a whole episode just walking around that room behind you, because I know you've got a room full of stuff there. So
there's even more stuff upstairs, mate. Yeah. That's the scary thing.
Cool, great stuff. Right, Mr. Phil, what have you got for us, mate? Anything fancy?
Yeah, so kind of unlike the rest of you guys, where I fit into the kind of nerd scenario is more of I'm a bit of a tech nerd. So I don't really have much in the way of memorabilia because I've just never had the urge to kind of go out and buy it. But I did a while ago start collecting steel cases for games because I really love the artwork and the design of them, and I like the feel of them as well. Especially you get some of the ones with like the raised designs. So I thought, I know you guys have shared quite a lot of stuff, but I just wanted to share my first and one of my most favourite steel cases that I got, which was for Jade Empire.
Oh,
shiny.
Very old school, yeah. And this was like the first steelbook case I ever got, and I thought that is so cool. And it almost kind of kicked off my love of this art style and the steel case designs. Like, with the raised textures on there. And you can tell the age of this because it was one of the early ones that you still got like the PC logo and like the age rating and stuff on there. Whereas they all come in like a sleeve now with all that information on. It's just purely about the artwork now. But yeah, I absolutely love this game. I played this game through 7, 8, 10 times. It's like the original Mass Effect for me, the amount of times I played through this. So yeah, this is kind of my game trivia, my game memorabilia stuff. It was just like, I've got like about 30 of these CD cases, 40 of them probably, and I just rotate them around in my room every now and then.
It is one of those things. If I ever go into a second-hand shop that sells games or something, I quite often take my son in. He wants to look at the cheap games and stuff. If I see a steelbook, I give Phil a quick call. I go, right, I've got this game here and this game here. No, I've got that.
Nice.
It almost is that bad, yeah. It's like, yeah, there's this one. Oh, I've got that one. Yeah, maybe I suppose I should have thought of doing like maybe a shot of all the steel cases I have at some point. But yeah, this was what kicked it off. So I guess this is the most important one, as it started my love of the steel cases, and I was already in love with gaming at the time, and very much the rest of it for me is about the tech and the progression of tech, and I think gaming is one of those expressions that tends to push the envelope. Like, we're always looking for better graphics, better hardware every year. Nvidia and AMD release these new graphics cards that are like, top of the line in terms of what they can deliver for ludicrous amounts of money. And that's really my angle and my love of gaming and technology, is the way it progresses technology.
Cool stuff. Yeah. Nice. Thanks for sharing, man.
Jade Empire.
Well, I guess that brings over to me.
I was like, Phil, can you get a shot of all of your steelbooks at some point, man? Because I love steelbooks. I'd love to see what you've got, man. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, stick it up on Twitter.
Yeah, man. I'll sort something out. Yeah, I'll have to find a way to archive them, or maybe just maybe my favourite ones.
Maybe we should just do a special edition, like not the podcast, a special edition tour of our man caves.
Yeah. Oh, mine's my work office, really. It's a half and half. Anyway, right. So, yeah, I guess I'll start with mine. So, I've got, I can't show you the ones behind the screen, but I've got episode 4, 5, and 6. I've got the movie posters that my wife got me. Sorry, Star Wars episode 4, 5, and 6 movie posters that are all signed.
We knew.
Which, yeah, of course, yeah. Just had to clarify. But you can see in the background, I have got Revenge of the Sith there as well, which is all signed, so that sits up that way. Across the back, you will see every week, this is my very small collection of collectibles, whereas 90% of which has been gifted me from Alan over birthdays and Christmas, apart from that picture up the top, which is from Phil, my Cyberpunk picture. So, there's my small collection of collectibles. I'm not allowed them anywhere else in the house because my wife won't let me. So I've got a couple of things. So I've got... There were presents that have been bought for me from my wife. So once I popped into a bookshop and saw a beautiful book, had a bit of a flick through it, and I was like, oh, it's gorgeous, love it. Never really thought much of it. The next birthday came around, or it might have been a Father's Day, and she had bought it for my wife, and it is the Star Wars The Blueprints book. And it is a chunky, hefty book. And it inside has just got all blueprints and images and pictures from all the original Star Wars movies. It's one of those books, it's not really a book you'd sit and read, it's like a coffee table book that you just sit sometimes, if it's like a miserable day, I've got nothing to do, I'll just sort of sit and just have a flick through it, and it's just such a beautiful thing with loads of beautiful art in it. It's a fantastic book. And then my number one piece would be that, again, something my wife got me, and it was the first Christmas we were together, so I've had this for nearly 15 years now, and a friend of mine had picked one up, and when we were around his pub, he was showing it to me, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So she obviously picked up on that, and picked me up this rather beautiful Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Now, I wasn't entirely sure about, it's a proper like replica handle, it's all steel and everything, and I've seen ones recently that aren't worth a huge amount of money, but speaking to you, Ratley, you said you think this is one of the earlier ones that's actually quite expensive or hard to get hold of or something, isn't it?
Well, people who like to fill collections with, Star Wars is super collectible, as I'm sure we all know. And the fact it's a early master replicas Luke Skywalker one. The Luke Skywalker hilt is definitely one of the most sought after hilts there is. No question, it's the hero of the hero's lightsaber, right? And master replicas ones, whilst they're not technically the best lightsabers, they're very sought after because you can't get them anymore. They were well made and they are very accurate. So I know a lot of people go nuts for master replicas. it all depends on how much you want to. Yeah, you wouldn't part with it. Obviously, sentimental value is going to be way, way higher. But apparently they're worth quite a bit. A master replica's blade in good condition in the box goes for stupid money on eBay now, £500-600 easily. If not more. They are like very sought after collectible because. Now people have. It's that typical thing, isn't it? As people have grown up with it, they've now got money because they're adults. Yeah. They're like, I can buy all the dumb things I wanted as a kid, right? Which is why me being such a child is a bad thing. Right? Hence the reason I have all this crap.
Quality stuff, brilliant. Right, well, thanks everyone for showing us all the bits and bobs. I think we do have. Yeah.
Thanks, Ellie.
Thanks, Ellie. Yeah, it's a great question. It's always good to have good content to sort of help us think of things to talk about. Not that we really need help, but we have got a couple other questions in the pipeline as well. I know we've a couple of weeks we've sort of missed things, whether we've run over a little bit or people have been sick. But we will get to all your questions, and we do appreciate you sending them in. Keep them coming. Like I say, it's great to hear from people. So now it's time to move on to the inevitable time of the week. It's the quiz, and everybody looks so excited again. So leaderboards wise, we are sitting on Alan
who
with
won
2
last
points.
week. Who won last week?
Phil on 0 and Ratley on 2.
This is now becoming a point of genuine anxiety for me.
Phil had
a murder last week, Alan.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a murder last week. I'm not gonna lie, I felt bad about it. Genuinely felt awful by the end of the
brain was not engaged.
Yeah, if you imagine, say, I don't know, like an ancient samurai warrior with the sharpest katana blade you've ever seen, and then Phil standing in his pants with a butter knife. That's kind of like what the fight was like.
What Phil
I just kept
needs is a
thinking that-
quiz that's based solely on technical equipment.
Well, I think Ratley would give him a run for his money there as well.
That's the problem, yeah.
That thing, yeah, the problem I found is like last week I just kept thinking that Simpsons meme, stop it, he's already dead.
Yeah.
I was just like,
But
You were thinking it,
I felt
I
terrible.
felt
but
it.
was quite funny.
It's
It
a
got quite funny
chance.
towards the end where we gave you a sitter and you still couldn't get it, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, Phil, this is the answer essentially. But yeah, sorry, mate.
yeah. So anyway, it's a chance to claw it back. So, as I said, top of the episode, I would like a buzzer from each of you. So I'm going to go to Ratley first. Can I have a buzzer, please? Ideally, a film-based one.
See, I just had one, and then we had that discussion, and I've completely forgotten it.
Should we
Which is
circle
typical,
back?
isn't it? Circle back.
Yeah.
back,
Okay, Alan. What's your
if I
buzzer?
can remember it.
Well, I can't remember when we talked about it, but a couple of weeks ago we had it on the running order where we were going to talk about Bethesda getting the rights to make an Indiana Jones movie type game, yeah?
Yeah.
And at that time I was going to use this buzzer, and then of course we ended up doing a Star Wars themed one, and I chose Jar Jar Binks instead. So I'm going to go for that today. I'm going to go for Kalima.
Nice. Right, Mr. Phil, what's yours?
Oh, it's got to be from one of my favourite films of all time. Get to the chopper!
Yes, love a bit
I've
of
already
Predator.
used this before, but I'm bringing it back.
And let's circling back to Ratley, he looks stressed. I still don't think he can think of it. What's your buzzer?
I literally just out of a Predator one, and then Phil said a Predator one. I was like, damn it, Phil! Oh,
Too slow, bro.
Shall I give you one? I'm going to give you one, Ratley. How about Multipass?
Multipass.
Oh, Fifth Element. I like that. Have you watched the 4K remaster they've just released of that?
I haven't.
I
no.
haven't. Is it good?
They have. They've remastered it. Yeah, it looks
Nice.
looks
I'll
good.
check that out.
I've really enjoyed watching back through that again. Actually,
Great
great
film.
movie.
Yeah, going to use Multipass?
Ooh, how about meat's back on the news, boy?
That's good.
What was that?
Meat's back on the
There is,
menu,
man.
boys. Yeah.
Meat's back on the
Right.
menu, boy.
Awesome stuff. Quality. Right. So
Good.
off we go. Question number 1. What year was the first Toy Story film released in cinemas?
To the chopper.
Really?
Back on the
Phil.
menus, boys.
I actually don't know, but I just wanted to get in first so I'd have a shot at winning it. Not even the faintest clue. So I'm going to guess 2003.
Is wrong, I'm afraid, Phil.
Kalima.
Go for it, Alan.
2006.
No, is wrong too. Any more takers?
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
Go on then, Ratley.
I think it's way earlier than that. I think it's like 1995.
Oh, he's only gone and done it, boys. It is 1995 for Toy
No!
Story.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
My lord.
Damn. I was
Fucking
torn
old.
between like 90s and 2000s. Like, surely it's 2000s.
It was like
Yeah,
kind of. I
it's
think
a-
it was the first, wasn't it? Pixar kind of, animated.
Yeah,
one like
first
that.
fully animated feature film. First fully animated digital computer
Yeah.
animated, sorry, feature film. So, but yeah, I the other day someone said about how old it was, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
it can't be that old. And then I realised how old I was when I
old.
saw it. I was like, yeah, I was like, it can be that old.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right. Question number 2. Who directed Titanic, Avatar, and the Terminator?
Back on the
Kalima.
menu,
Chopper.
boys.
That was Alan.
James Cameron.
It most certainly was James Cameron. That was an easy one, wasn't it?
Easy. Yeah, to be
That was
fair.
for me, wasn't it?
And he was just
To
too
give me a
slow.
chance.
You were
And you
too
still didn't get it.
I was going to shout it out at the start and then let you finish the question afterwards.
That's where you're going wrong, Phil.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Which 3 films make up what is known as the 3 Flavors Cornetto?
Meat's
Kalima.
back on the menus, boys.
Alan again.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
And it's not Paul. It's. God damn it!
I'm
I
gonna
don't
push you.
know. I don't know.
I'm going to have to push you, mate. You
I
can't
don't
remember,
know.
can you? Oh,
I
right.
can't remember.
Okay, any other
Meat's back
takers?
on the menus, boys.
Oh, go on then, Ratley.
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End.
It most
Oh, The
certainly
World's End!
is. Yes. That is certainly the least known of the 3, I would say. Cool. Right. Okay. So, question number 4. Who directed Parasite, the first foreign language film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture? Quality film, if you haven't seen
back on
it.
the menu, boys.
Go for it, Ratley.
I have no idea, but he was very talented.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. It's just I haven't got around to watching it. It's definitely
so
on my
good.
list of things to watch.
So good.
Is it a good film?
Very,
Okay.
very good. Very good, yeah.
Kalima!
Go for it, mate.
About one of the only international directors I know, and he's not really international. Ang Lee.
No. No, afraid not. Anything from you, Phil?
I remember seeing it pop up on something, and I've been desperately racking my brains to see if I can remember who directed it, but I'm drawing a blank. I think it was like a Japanese director or something, wasn't it?
He's Korean. Bong
Korean.
Joon-ho. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, cool.
What film did he do that was... It's completely slipped my mind now. A film that you all would have seen.
Train to Busan?
No, I can't remember what it is now. It doesn't matter. I'll remember later. But there was another film, quite a film that you would have all seen that he did, that was quite famous. Anyway, so right, moving on to the next question. Name the 2015 film spin-off of the Rocky series starring Michael B. Jordan.
Meat's back on the menu.
Kalima!
Meat's back on the menu.
I think that was Creed.
It most certainly was Creed. Well done, Ratley.
That's
Nice.
quite
Brilliant
good as
film, by
well.
the way.
It's a good film. Yeah,
Brilliant
good film.
Still haven't watched the second one yet, though. But
No.
It's
Okay.
all right. It's not as good as the first one, but it's still good.
Right, next question. Which Oscar-winning actress is the voice of Helen Parr, Elastigirl in The Incredibles?
Meat's back on the menus, boys.
Go for it, Ratley.
Is it Helen Hunt?
No. Close, but no
Get to the
cigar.
chopper.
Go on, Phil.
Well, I'm just going to go with whoever voices it. Is it Claudia Black?
No.
I
Voices
don't.
everything. I
I'm
don't know.
going to go with. I'm going to say Kalima,
Yeah.
but I can think of like her first name, which is Holly, isn't it? Is it Holly something?
It is Holly something, and it's
Yeah,
very
Holly-
close to what Ratley said.
Holly Hunt or something like that.
I'm going to give
Back
you
on the
it.
menu, boys.
I'm going to
Yeah.
give you it. It's Holly Hunter. I'm going to give it to you.
There we go. There we go. Holly Hunter.
All right, I'm going to
As
give
soon
it
as
to
he
you.
said it, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Okay, right. So next question. Who starred as Neil Armstrong in the Damien Chazelle's biopic
Kalima.
First Man? Yes, Alan.
I might have spoken a little bit soon. I haven't got the foggiest.
Haven't you? Okay.
No, not a Scooby.
Do you want me to do the question again? It was who starred as Neil Armstrong in the Damien Chazelle's biopic First Man? Good film. Very good film.
I can see his face and I can't think of his name. You know the thing, you know who it is and you can't get the name.
I'm going to say a film and then see if it helps you. Drive.
Oh,
Boo! Sorry, boys. Too late. It was Ryan Gosling.
Ryan. Yeah.
Of course it was.
Yeah, got a proper man crush on that boy. He's awesome. Have you ever seen him and
What happened to
Harrison
West
Ford?
Chatham?
Oh, mate, I can have a crush on two blokes, can't I?
Well, I suppose so.
Yeah, no. Have you ever seen any interviews with Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford when they were doing the Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
they're so funny together. Those two, the quality. Right.
I mean, I did hear once that Harrison Ford never goes into an interview unless he's completely stoned, which I
really?
could totally believe watching some of his interviews. Massive smoker.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if Ryan Gosling was perhaps joining him and they were just having a complete,
maybe.
fills and giggles,
Yeah, yeah. Right. Next question. Okay, what is the name of the accident-prone ant who is the main character in A Bug's Life?
I wish you asked me who voiced him. I know that.
Who voiced him?
Woody Allen.
No,
No,
that was
actually,
Ants.
no, that's Ants,
Ants.
isn't it? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're right. Actually, I'm wrong. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Meat's
Nothing.
back on the menu.
Go for it.
Is it Flick?
It is Flick. Yes.
Your knowledge of cartoons is extraordinary, Chris.
I love Pixar movies, man. Pixar
quality.
movies. are so
Fair enough.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Next question.
Just for reference, Alan, this is exactly what it felt like last week. It's just that now you can experience it with me.
Well,
I
no,
don't know,
Alan
I got a
scored.
question right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got
Alan
question
scored
right.
quite a few points. Yeah.
Has he? I thought it's got one.
He
Yeah.
scored 2.
Oh.
Phil
It's not
Kelly,
what
yeah.
it was like last week then, although I'm still on 0.
It's still same as last week
you.
for you.
For you, it's the same, yeah.
Sorry, Phil. I didn't want to make you feel worse, but
Right.
you did bring it up.
Do we want to give Phil a head start on this one?
Go on then, give Phil a head start on this one.
No. Okay, Alan, does we give you a head start? No, good.
Carry on.
Right. In the Coen brothers film The Big Lebowski, what cocktail is the favourite of the dude?
Kalima.
Alan.
White Russian.
Yes, my man.
When
That
the
is
dude
right.
drinks,
Love that movie.
the dude drinks.
Yeah. Quality film.
It really tied the room together.
Right. Question number 10. The Imitation Game is a biopic based on which 20th century figure?
God. See, it's Benedict Cumberbatch. It's the Enigma Machine. Can I remember his name? No.
There is a test out that has this guy's surname.
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
Ratley.
Is it Alan Turing?
It is Alan Turing.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Well done.
And he's supposed to be one of the creators of the first modern computers, isn't he? Because he built the first sort of basic building blocks of computers that we have today.
Right. Okay, cool. So, last question. Let's see if Phil can get a point on this one. You got it on the tip of your tongue. You ready to shout it out, Phil? You got your buzzer ready?
Yeah.
Go
okay.
get. Who replaced Richard Harris as Dumbledore in the Harry Potter films?
God.
Alan knows this, don't you, Alan?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Really?
I know the actor. I know the
I'm
actor, but his name's not coming.
He actually had a corner named after him in Top Gear.
Get to the chopper.
Yes, Phil.
Michael Gambon.
Yes, mate.
No. Oh, thank you.
You know what? When you said that, I could have got it. And I was like, I'm just not.
Phil's face.
I know one.
I can't remember my buzzer.
It's like panic. I've scored an answer. I don't even know how to score an answer now.
Quality stuff,
I'd
right?
already written it off when you were taking the mick out of me for that. I was like, I ain't getting this then.
Okay, cool. So after that hair-raising round, we have Phil on 1 point. So not 0, mate, and it wasn't handed to you. We have then a very close between Alan and Ratley. So who's going to take the lead for the year so far? So one person being on 4 points. No, 3 points, sorry, and the other person being on 5 points.
That'd be Ratley.
We have Ratley on 5 points. Yes, well done, my man. That's another win. Fantastic.
It was his supreme knowledge of Pixar films that won him that one, I have to say.
That was very good, mate. So for the year then, that's 3 to Ratley. That is 2 to Alan and 0 to Phil. But there's still
I led for a couple of weeks. If I don't lead again, I will still be happy.
Mate, at the end of the day...
At the end of the day, there was a point where you said, I'll never win anything. And at this point,
That's true.
You're second place and you're significant lead.
You're consoling me because I'm in second place.
Well, but think of poor Phil.
It's a participation medal, what you're offering me.
Actually, I think you'll find the two most important positions in a race are first and last.
Yeah. We lost Alan's video feed and he's coming back. He's
back.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording. That's
well, I should have sworn then, should I, really?
That's all right.
In case you missed it, Alan, the two most important positions in a race are first and last.
So what
I've always been the middle child, and I've hated it. I've got an older sister and a younger brother. You know, when I was young, it was the worst place. I was the most ignored child out of all of them. I do not want to be in middle. So if needs comes to must, I'm going to help you every week, Phil, so that you can get into second place.
Being an only child, I'll take the middle child.
I think at this rate, Phil's going to have to start doing the quizzes because he's just going to not turn up anymore because he's getting really annoyed.
The stress it causes me.
The anime quiz week, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll pick a load of stuff I haven't watched.
No, we'll do a quiz.
It'll turn out Ratley has.
It'll be anime movies.
Porn.
It'll be anime movies. It'll be mech movies. It'll be Final Fantasy 14.
There we go. Yeah,
and there you go. He'll be good. And steelbook cases. Quality stuff. Cool. Right. Well,
pigeonholed there, but sure.
Yeah. So, I think that's probably about it for this week, I would say. I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek of something next week I would like to kind of maybe give you a bit of a rundown on. I picked up a Oculus Quest 2 VR headset. Fantastic little bit of kit. I've been playing it quite a bit, doing a lot of Beat Saber and various different games. So I thought I'd go through it a little bit next week. We didn't really have enough time this week, so something to look forward to next time. So I guess all that leaves is it's a bye from me. It's a bye from Ratley.
Oh, goodbye.
It's a bye from Alan.
Kalima!
And it's a bye from Phil.
Get to the chopper!